For example, look at the appointment of this government in central bank, in security, in everything. What crazy. Even those from the southwest of the country are complaining. What is happening to him? Has he forgotten that he's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Not of Oduduwa Republic? What?
Hello and what's up, guys? In this video, we have a shocking revelation that is shaking Nigeria's political space. A northern chieftain has dropped a heavy bombshell against the ruling APC. And trust me, you need to hear this. He didn't hold back at all. According to him, while Nigeria is burning with poverty, insecurity, and economic hardship, APC leaders are only busy with bribes, election talks, and political arrangements. He asked directly, what arrangement are you going to make when the country itself is going down the drain? This elder went further to compare the APC with former President Goodluck Jonathan, boldly saying Jonathan was a far better president than anyone the APC has ever produced. That statement alone has left many people talking. He warned that APC is wasting the nation's time. Instead of fixing the economy, ending insecurity, or addressing the suffering of ordinary Nigerians, they are obsessed with elections and who they can bribe to stay in power. He described it as shameful, dangerous, and a clear sign of failed leadership. Now, this is coming at a very sensitive time, because Nigerians are asking tough questions. Is APC really focused on saving the nation, or are they only after political survival in 2027? Could this be the beginning of more northern voices rejecting the ruling party? Guys, this revelation is already causing heated reaction across the country, and it raises serious doubts where Nigeria is heading. Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look, guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
We spotlight Nigeria's governance trajectory amid growing concerns that leadership is failing quite spectacularly to address the cost of living crisis, rising unemployment, deepening insecurity, and a whole lot of other structural issues. More than halfway into its first term, the Tinubu-led administration continues to face mixed reviews when it comes to its management of the economy, its fiscal, monetary, and structural reforms. At the same time, the recent by-elections have raised new questions about the credibility of Nigeria's electoral process and the entrenched monetization of leadership recruitment processes. Well, joining me live tonight to provide some context and to help unpack some of these developments, I'm joined by Dr. Usman Baje, a former federal lawmaker and advisor to the former vice president and technocrat, I might add, to help us dissect these challenges and point us to the way forward for Nigeria's governance and leadership challenges. Dr. Bugaji, thank you so much for joining us on the program. It's good to see you this evening.
It's my great pleasure.
Right. Let's start this way. Considering everything that is in the news that is shaping the conversation around the polity, what concerns you the most about the conversations Nigerians are having about their problems and the way forward?
It's quite a lot happening. But you see, my greatest worry is that there is no systematic approach to our problems. The problems this country is facing are not new in the history of nations. Many countries have gone through and have survived and have turned out to thrive. So it's for us to really look at it in a more systematic manner. But the quality or lack of it, as it were, of leadership doesn't give you that, because you can't engage with the leaders. When you try to say, okay, there is a problem, they think you're accusing them of failure. Fair enough. Even if they fail, our job is to see how they can fix the country. And they are not able to differentiate those political opponents who would always say what they do was wrong, is wrong, and those who are genuinely interested in fixing the country and even helping them. They are not able to differentiate because the quality of discernment or the quality of understanding is very poor. But let me go a little back. Maybe this may help. You see, the whole idea of a sovereign state was created in 1648 when there was some crisis in Europe and there was this meeting in Westphalia, and there was the famous Westphalia Agreement. And every nation state is predicated on its sovereignty, right? And this is why we go to the United Nations, and this is a lot of the international law are based on this. But there are three things that gives you sovereignty, without which we cannot really claim sovereignty. If our leaders will focus on this, they are more likely to achieve a lot. One, you must have sufficient force to defend your territory. So the first condition of sovereignty of the three major things is a hold on your territory. Let us ask ourselves, do we as a country really have a hold on our territory? There are pockets of our territory that our forces cannot even enter, that have become the domain of certain either terrorist groups or bandits or this or that. In fact, there are pockets of our territory where bandits basically establish their rule, collecting taxes, setting rules, and this and that. These are known. There may not be many, or you can argue about, but the fact of the matter is that there are. Now, that is a source of concern for a country. The second thing is food security. Do we have sufficient food to feed ourselves? Look at what the UNICEF figures. Look at the Doctors Without Borders. Children are dying. And for every child that dies in the hospital, for which these statistics are given, you can easily imagine 2 other mothers who cannot even get to that hospital, whose children are dying, who go unrecorded. So food security is critical for you to even say that you have a country. The other thing, of course, is medical supplies. How much of our medical supplies do we bring from outside? According to NAFDAC, nearly 75% of everything medical supplies that we require comes from outside the country. So this itself shows you that we don't quite have a country. Now, I have not seen any conversation among the political leaders around these issues. For them to even own their country and to really come across as people who have a country, who can truly represent the country as leaders. These things are not being discussed. These issues are not seen as big issues. The issues that worry them are elections. And this is dangerous because you are busy focusing on election. Who are you going to bribe? What arrangement are you going to do? While the country is going down the drain. You might end up at election and you find there is no country. Because the deficit of trust, the trust deficit, the gap, I don't know how else to put it for people in authority. The fact of the matter, and as far as I know, that nobody outside those who are employed by government, nobody trusts whatever government says. Nobody trusts government. And it's good that government know that people don't trust them, because they have told lies, open lies, and they're not open to engage genuinely with people.
Right.
So this is like for me the minimum. If this government or any other government really wants to be responsible enough to rule, they need to engage with citizens.
Right.
At the moment, I have not seen that engagement. At the moment, I've not seen a conversation around the complaints that people are. And this is not just at federal level, even at state level, even at local government level. At every level of government, there is no engagement between citizens and those who claim to have been elected by the citizens. There is no connection. They are busy stealing and looting the resources of this country and telling lies, and the citizens are frustrated increasingly. They don't know what to do. In the last 1 week, if you hear people of Matazu and Musa local government, they cry. If you see, you shed tears.
Right. Doctor, what do you say to people who point out, like the recent engagement in Kaduna, for instance, at the Ariwa House? Some would say that qualifies as engagement.
No,
interaction.
No. These are government people coming to say what they want to say. Where were the people? Where are the citizens who were actually to be there? They may have gotten a few people to come. Most of the people who I spoke to, I was to be there, but I couldn't. But most of the people who were there, could not even speak. There was someone I went to visit, and he was supposed to be there, but he was sick, he couldn't go. So I went to visit him because he was sick. A colleague of his called him and said, "Hey, wait a minute, where are you? Our names are being listed as people who have been given appointments." And this is not true. So why should government tell lies? I mean, so this kind of thing. So I saw that just as an attempt, and a very, not a very, a wrong one, of government trying to say we're doing well. If you are doing well, people in the villages will be the ones to be talking.
But what about some of their concerns that people outside of government, whether partisan people or people like you who are just giving their 2 cents on the state of the nation, are either oversimplifying how complicated the challenges are, or are oversimplifying what it would take to actually solve the problem. Therefore, the conversation or the criticism is not one that is rooted in objectivity.
Now, like I've always said, in any government, no matter how bad that government is, there must be good people who are doing their best. But you cannot ignore the bigger things. For example, look at the appointment of this government in central bank, in security, in everything. What crazy! Even those from the southwest of the country are complaining. What is happening to him? Has he forgotten that he's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Not of Oduduwa Republic? Okay, what does he get?
Well, officially there is no Oduduwa Republic, right?
No. There is no. Well, I mean, people talk about it in euphemism, for the kind of thing. But I mean, can't he see? Can't people around him tell him that is wrong? When Buhari started something like that, we came to the television, we told him, we spoke to him, we sent emissaries to him. But this is far worse than we have seen throughout the history of this country. Now, once you do this kind of thing, other people don't trust you. And then they will say, okay, what kind of person he is, right? This is one. When you took this trillions, when health sector is suffering, education is suffering, you are building a coastal road, in a company without due process, and people complain, and you did nothing. I can go on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so many things that this government has done to lose trust and the confidence the citizens, can have on, in their government. So let me just make this point. You see, what is important in citizen-government relationship is trust. Once you lose it, there is nothing else you can achieve. Yes, you have the power to kill, to arrest, to harass, to do anything, but you are only going to be there for a period of time. Even if you want to kill, you can only kill a certain number of people for some time. And the more you do, the more the anger that is collected, and it will burst out. It has happened in Peru, it has happened in Argentina, it has happened in Iran, it has happened in so many other countries. Can't you see the history of the world?
No.
If you go back, in fact, from the American Revolution, 1776, the French Revolution, 1789, the other revolutions that have taken place, you should have lessons to know. What this government needs to do is to stop, to remove the sycophants around that are telling them that this government is doing well. This government is not doing well. And they need to engage with people. They can ignore the politicians who would, but at least there are people who know and who can genuinely tell them this is what you need to do. And these are people who don't need a job. They don't need anything. They just want their country to be fixed.
What do you say to people who are probably in the comment section right now, countering your argument by saying this type of diagnosis itself doesn't help? It's counterproductive because the moment you say this region or that region, you're not making the conversation national.
In fact, I'm making it national because he is trying to narrow it down to a particular region. And I'm trying to help him by saying, hey, wait a minute, you're doing something wrong. You need to look at the whole country. That's the point I'm making. I'm not saying it because I'm basically just complaining. No, I'm saying it because what he's doing is wrong, because it's exclusion. And if you look at the history of conflicts in the world, basically exclusion creates resentment. And resentment is the most potent force when it comes to a conflict. So I'm trying to help him not to continue creating resentment. I once said it even during the time of Buhari. I had occasion to discuss issues of this nature with the then Vice President, Professor Osibanjo. And I reminded him what James Baldwin said, that the most dangerous person in any society is somebody who has nothing more to lose. He has lost everything. He has lost his house. He has lost his farm. he lost his son or his daughter or his father or his mother. He has nothing more to lose. These are the kind of people we are producing. Every day, we are producing dangerous people. Because these people, can just do anything. And they have lost trust from government. Because they ask, and these questions are being asked, people are saying, where is government? Where is government? We are suffering, we can't feed, we have no security. Look at what education has become. A professor earning a salary that cannot last in 1 week. What do you want him to teach? And if there is no teaching, if there are no educated people, what country are you building in the next 20, 25 years?
All right. Let's speak to some of these quote-unquote imbalance when it comes to national development. Have a listen to this clip. Here's Senator Danjuma Goje from Gombe State highlighting and re-echoing some of those concerns around what is fair and unfair as far as redistribution of wealth or at least investment in capital infrastructure is concerned. Have a listen. All right, we'll circle back to that in just a moment. But of course, just to double down on the conversation around what is fair across regions and Nigerians' perception of inclusion, do you think that this could, in a way, put national cohesion at risk? I mean, some would say the Buhari administration has done, a great damage to national cohesion. Are you implying that the Tinubu administration is going down the same path? And what is the risk there?
It's doing far more damage. But let's not narrow the issues to only issue of national cohesion. You see, when you come to government, you swear by the Constitution, right? What does the Constitution say? The purpose of government, the primary purpose of government is security and welfare of citizens. Your focus is, how do you provide security? How do you provide welfare? How do you make sure that there is law and order and there is the kind of infrastructure that can allow citizens to acquire the skills and to be able to organize the economy in such a way that there will be production? It's by production that countries become wealthy, not by revenue, right? Now this is the focus. I don't see that focus here. I see focus basically in distributing opportunities to, hang us on, or people that you have reasons to want to please. I see a personal agenda of trying to build something personal. I cannot see any connection with the real problems of the people. People are crying, and these things are not being addressed, and they are not being engaged, because every complaint is seen as an attack, and then they try to justify. Every complaint is seen as an attack, and this kind of attitude is not healthy for any government, not just this government. Any government. And
is Dr. Bugaji factoring in everything that the government is doing to alleviate some of those concerns? Because the government will say, listen, we're targeting 15 million plus people with our conditional cash transfer. We just added 2.5 million or thereabout to the conditional cash transfer. We've given workers wage awards. we're throwing a lot of money at the problem. We're conducting or carrying out these reforms. I mean, are you considering all of that in your assessment of what is working versus what is not working?
But what you are saying is not delivering. Have you forgotten? Not too long ago, the government put 100 billion for the students' loan scheme. What did the FCC come up with? 75 billion have been stolen. It's on the news. So a lot of this money that is being advertised, doesn't really get to where it should be. And this speaks to the quality of the people that this government has put in place. Look at the quality of the people. Look at some of the people that have not really gone to school. They have made a mess of their own state. And they came out, we are giving them some of the most important portfolio. What kind of criteria has this government in giving appointments? So a lot of these things that doesn't really get there. There was an incident in Sokoto where some students jubilated because they got their, and this went all over. All this, yes, for goodness sake, let's be fair. Go back to that report, that 100 billion that has been assigned to this. The EFCC reported that nearly 75%, of that money has.
Well, there were some irregularities, but NEL Fund, as well as the ICPC and other anti-graft agency said they're looking at some of those problems. But also some of the universities have actually been fingered as, culprits in the disbursement procedures or protocols.
Fair enough. It's the job of government to appoint, people who can really deliver. Because if you can't select people who can deliver, I mean, it's your own responsibility, really. And what we see of some of the appointments, really, we start wondering, is government really serious? And this country is full of very capable hands. So many younger people, not people like me. I'm old.
Right.
I don't expect anything. I don't want anything. I want to be left alone to face the thing. But there are a lot of young people, very capable, and you can actually do a thorough process of going through. But as you know, they just pick this person, this name from here and there, and just basically paying political paybacks.
As you know, Doctor, we operate a federal system of government, right? If you have to give a percentage on how much responsibility the federal government should take for the current state of affairs and what the subnationals will take in terms of responsibility or accountability, how would you situate it? Because there is a lot of hyper-focus on Aso Rock Villa to solve all the problems in this country. And some would say there's nothing realistic about that, because you do have some of those responsibilities lying with the state governments or even the local government as the third tier of government. How would you situate it?
Well, remember, we are running a democracy. APC has governance. So why wouldn't it make its APC governed states to be the best if they really want to? So it's not, I do agree with you. There is a lot of focus on the federal, and I think rightly so, because they are supposed to lead. And if they don't lead, then others will not follow. So let them lead with the best thing, and then let the states now be put, kept on their toes. So yes, but if truly APC government, wants to say that they are doing well, let's also see in their own states. Look at my state, Kasana. See what is happening now.
I don't know if you can clearly see what's on the screen, but the federal government, in its effort to cut down the cost of medical services, recently announced this over 70% in the cost of, kidney treatment, dialysis, right? It's trying to be very specific about where people can access these services. However, some are also pointing out that there is an uneven distribution when it comes to the spread, because on there you can find the University Teaching Hospital in Maiduguri in Borno State in the northeast, and one in Abuja here, the Federal Medical Center in Jabi. The rest are in the southern part of the country. Does this, in your view, shed light again about, the perceived marginalization of some sections of the country by the administration?
But this is the point I was making. If anything, this is part of the evidence you are providing, that there is some exclusion. And in any case, if you are going to deal with health, yes, facilities like dialysis is very important, but there are more fundamental issues on health that you should be tackling. For example, up till now, over 75% of the drugs we take are brought from outside. How can this happen? Look at the whole of Northeast. The whole of the 6 states of Northeast, there is not a single pharmaceutical industry. Not even producing, over-the-counter drugs like paracetamol, some antihistamines, antidiarrheals, not even that. And this is, if you put the population together, is the average population of a country in Europe.
But are these things structurally things that can spring up in 2, 3, 4 years? Because they do sound like long-term planning.
You can do that in 1 year. I trained as a pharmacist 50 years ago. And I know. And when we trained, we had a manufacturing unit attached to Ahmadu Bello Teaching Hospital. And that's where we used to go and do our practical. And that manufacturing unit was supplying most of the regular drugs to 3 hospitals. One in Zaria, one in Malumfashi, one in Kaduna at that time. So we were trained to produce the medicines, not just theoretically. We had practicals, from the way, mixing the drugs and going through the process up to when they come out as tablets or as capsules or as what. We knew, we were trained like that. And from that training, you can, from The moment you get your degree, you can actually start a manufacturing unit because you are already familiar. We do hospital visits also. We go into the theater because of the anesthesia. The point I'm making is that we can do these things, but there is no focus on them. Right. I think governance has become just some kind of, honestly, just show and frivolity. And this is my worry, that there is no seriousness in the real engagement with the issues. You know, everybody is there because you are holding a position, so nobody should speak. Everybody should just praise you. What kind of nonsense is this?
Okay. Some would say that some of the criticism have been way over the top. But let's go back to that earlier clip that we were supposed to play for you, where Senator Danjuma Goje from Gombe State is talking about federal distribution of projects and the imbalance in the share of capital projects. Have a listen.
2 road projects, that is Yola Fufore Green Road in Adamawa State, 11 billion, and Karelamedo Road in Taraba State, 7 billion, totaling all about 19 billion out of the approved sum of 4.2 trillion, the whole zone. Also note that apart from these 2 road projects listed in the Northeast, there are other very important road networks which are in bad conditions, such as the Bauchi Gombe Road, Bio Gombe Road, Poroskum Gombe Road, Darazo Gombe Road, Numan Jalingo Road, Yola Mubi Road, Yola Michika, Madagali Goza, Bama Road, Gurore, Mayo Balawa Zing Jalingo Road, Mayo Balawa Jada Ganye Road, Bio Gombe Road, Tumaraba of course, Bio Dambua Meduguri Road, Bio Damatu Road, among others, which desperately require serious reconstruction and rehabilitation. Further notes that the Northeast is also the only zone in this country that's not connected to Mr. President's superhighway project embarked upon by this administration. I raised this issue before and I'm still raising it today, that Northeast is the only zone not connected to the superhighway project being undertaken by His Excellency Mr. President. Observes that the laudable intention behind the conception of these projects is to ensure connectivity by improving road safety with the aim of harnessing the ability of resources that abound across the length and breadth of this country, with a view to stimulating economic growth and development. Accordingly resolves, 1, commend.
Right, part of the message there from Senator Danjuma Goje. Apologies for the poor quality of the picture in that soundbite, but of course the message was quite clear that his region is quite neglected. He said 19 billion of the 4.2 trillion that has been released for capital projects is what the Northeast region is getting. Further, re-echoing some of those concerns about whether the administration is doing all that it can to give every part of the country a sense of we're all in the same boat. But of course, Doctor, your quick reaction to some of those comments, and whether there is a sense that we're misrepresenting the scale of the problem, that there's only so much the Tinubu administration can do at any given time.
Look, true as it is, I think the fault is that of Senator Danjuma Goje and his colleagues. What is he there for? He is there precisely to stop this kind of thing. He's now coming and reading out what we all know. Okay, what did he do? Just reading it out? What made him to keep quiet? Let him shout. Let us see him in the Senate chamber fighting for the people who have actually elected him to come there.
Are you talking about when it was being appropriated?
Of course. Of course, appropriation is the beginning of your representation. Because that's basically, you are representing a people. And so when the wealth of the nation is being shared, you should make sure that is fair. So I'm not impressed that he's reading something which we all know, we all see. But why are they keeping quiet? Why are they keeping quiet? Why are they there? They have got the leverage to make sure that these things are done properly well. If they have not, it's their fault.
It appears you're not quite satisfied with the performance of the National Assembly.
No, they are rubber stamp. Everybody knows that they are rubber stamp. They can't stop the president from doing anything. They can't. They couldn't. I mean, you mentioned when you were introducing me, we were in the National Assembly, right? I mean, in our own time, we could actually do we could stop. And we stopped Obasanjo from doing many things he wanted to do. And we were not paid 20th of what they are being paid now. And we're able to do it. But now they have all submitted. They are all just, you can see them just keep
but they have come out and time again said, listen, we're not rubber stamp, we're not bending the knee.
Yeah, but they were there.
Their main objective.
We saw them singing on your mandate, we stand.
What
kind of stupidity is this?
It's a political messaging, right?
No,
and there's nothing wrong with a little bit of politics.
No. You don't do this in the parliament. Parliament is a sacred, it's a hollow chamber. You don't play.
Isn't that what we're seeing in the United States?
If they come out in a political meeting, they do this, that's fine. But you are there to check the president. And you are surrendering your powers that the Constitution has given you. You are saying on your mandate, which mandate? Who are you? You are representative of your own people there. You are there precisely to check the executive arm of government. And for what I know of the powers of parliament, when the president presents a budget, it's a proposal. It is the power to do budget. It's that of parliament. They can literally tear what the president has, brought to pieces and put it in the dustbin and create a whole new budget and take it to the president. If he doesn't sign by 2/3, they can move it. They can sign the budget and pass it. And if he doesn't implement it, he's impeaching the law and they can deal with him. But these people have no liver. They have no courage. They've been, I don't know what has happened to them. Maybe they've been completely bored. But we are looking. I hope they are listening. And I hope they will be angry. And I hope they will react. Show us, you people in the National Assembly, that you are independent. You are truly represent your own people. Come out and say exactly what is happening.
They say they don't need to be antagonistic in their relationship with the executive arm. That they can find mutual respect so that they can actually deliver the deliverables to their people.
Look. I think we shouldn't waste time on this matter. These people have disappointed their own representatives. They have become completely taken over and bought over by the executive arm, and they are doing exactly what the executive arm wants. I don't discount the fact that there may be 1, 2, 3, 4, a few that are still honest and trying to do their best. There must be few, but a great majority of them are sell out. Honestly, they have shown that they have no liver, they have no courage, and they have no idea of what exactly they are, or they know, but they have chosen to be bought off and to live a luxury life, in place of doing the real work they are supposed to be there. Otherwise, a lot of the mess that this executive arm of government is doing, they could have stopped it.
Right.
They have the power to do that. The Constitution has given them the power.
Let's segue into some more politics then, because as you can imagine, the 2027 conversation has, been gaining a lot of momentum over the past couple of weeks and over the past couple of months. And just a couple of days ago, over the weekend, we had the off-season by-elections and rerun elections in some of the state constituencies and some national assemblies. Your 2 cents on what happened, especially on the integrity and credibility questions around our electoral process.
Well, it's a build-up. If you remember, there were local government elections before that, right? And if you remember the results, every local government election in almost every state that, organized it, was 100% by whatever ruling party was there. You remember this. Now, so what happened in this last election, last weekend, is basically a continuation of that. And in that, in many states, there were places where people were waiting for the ballot boxes to come so they can cast their vote. It never came, and they were monitoring in the radio, and they had results of their own polling stations being announced. There were nothing. So they were not even allowed to vote. And there were lots of this kind of thing in this particular election. I'm sure if you read the complaints and those people who have tried to go to court and this, and I think it was in Kaduna or where there were a large number of people arrested.
It was in Kano, actually, what we're seeing right now on the screen. Yeah, it's in Kano.
Okay, there were people arrested with a lot of weapons. This look at them. This kind of weapons. What? This is madness. This is not war. It's election. The same politicians, are doing this kind of thing on both sides. So I'm not basically saying that is the fault of APC. PDP will do the same thing. ANPP, I suppose, will do the same thing. Now, the fact that our elections have become war means that we'll never get the kind of quality leadership that will really solve the problems of this country. We will all be going down the drain. And we have to stop. And if this government really wants to help this country and wants to go down as a responsible government, they will now sit down from what has happened now and make sure that changes are brought in the way elections are conducted. With this kind of way the elections are being conducted, there is no way we can get a genuine, competent people with integrity to come and participate. And so it will be thugs that will be elected. And when they get into office, they would know nothing but thuggery. They will not govern. They will not care to do the kind of thing that we are all saying, if you don't do them, our country will be going down the drain.
Well, in the political arena, things have remained fluid. Of late, a latest addition has been added to the debate around the quest for presidency in 2027. Good luck, Jonathan. I'm sure someone you are familiar with in terms of his leadership style, right? Is he in need in terms of political options, or do you think his involvement or his name being mentioned in the conversation is a distraction?
It's not a distraction. After all, he is a citizen. He has every right to participate in any election, right? So he has the right to do that. We criticize him for so many things that he did, but by the time you look at what he did, you look at late Buhari's regime, you look at what we are going through now, you would even prefer to have somebody like Jonathan, because at least he's a gentleman. And perhaps if he should come around, I'm not saying he should contest, this is his business to decide, and the business of whichever party wants to give him a platform. But I mean to say, for me, given the crisis we are in, Jonathan should be welcome. Because looking back, we can see that he's a much better person than the kind of people we're having now.
Haven't the times changed to a certain degree where you're looking for the best pair of hands? And if that is the case, are you saying he is an option as a safe pair of hands?
For me, it's an option, but I would prefer a situation where we do two things if we really want to fix this country. Because my worry is that this country is in far more crisis than the politicians realize. Because you look at all the parameters, the indices of development. I mean, the GDP ratio, we are worse than 1960. We're going down. You look at the maternal and infant mortality rate. You look at the debt profile, the debt, the way it's going. You look at population. In just the next 5 years, by UNDP projection, we're going to be 300 million. Another 20 years, that's 2050, we are going to be 420 or 30 million, and will be the third largest country in the world after India and China. Now, if at the moment we are having deficit in terms of food, we are having large number of youth unemployed, and in fact, in that time, the African population will double, and we will have, the mean age in Africa will be 19. So you will have a large number of, this is the time to plan. And this kind of discussion is not in the conversation. So I would rather, and I think this is the job of the elite now, to really come and say, hey, where do we want our country to be in the next 25 years? We want the GDP to be this, we want the health, education, human capital development to be this, we want this, we want this. Okay, so how do we get it? We have the resources. What we need is the leadership. So how do we bring in the manpower that have? So we have to develop a criteria. This criteria that we have in the Constitution, that you are this age, you finish secondary school, is not a criteria for suitability, it's a criteria for eligibility. It's just saying that you are eligible. But we have no criteria for suitability. And when we are facing a crisis, and when we have a problem to solve, you cannot ignore a criteria for suitability. Even in your company, if Daily Trust TV is recruiting, they don't just talk about age and secondary school, isn't it? They will come with qualifications. You must have had like 10 years of this, you have to have this and that, and they will, in fact, create a panel for interview to make sure you get the best so that people can really deliver. If you do that for a company like this, What more of a country?
Yeah, but
a country that is in trouble.
Do you think we're having that big picture conversation? The elites, whether in politics or
the elite,
in national life?
A few of the elite are writing about this. They are putting it out in the social media. People are reading. But they have not created a momentum. And this is part of what I hope we'll be able to do before we get to the next election. I am part of a network of elite that we are having this conversation. But I think it's important we realize that what is ahead of us, if we do not fix this country quickly, then we are going to be in very big soup. We have seen how other countries have made this mistake and have fallen, and up to now they have not been able to rise up. I mean, Somalia is one of these countries. You might say it's a small country, but it's still struggling, to keep.
You think we could share the same fate with Somalia?
But look at Congo. Look at Congo. Last year I was in Congo.
I mean, some would say Congo has been in this type of crisis since independence.
Of course, but a lot of it is created by Western powers who want to steal the resources. And we have a lot of resources here. We have lithium, we have nickel, we have coltan, we have cobalt, we have uranium, we have so many of these things. You think all this crisis that we are having, the banditry, the Boko Haram, I mean, even if without listening to Trump and Elon Musk, and the US aid, we know that a lot of the crises that we have are created by powers that really want to keep us down. And it's true. It started from imperialism. What is the old colonization about? And these people are walking the street, with coat and necktie and pretending to be good people. I mean, they were the people who started banditry. And so we should not take these things lightly. But what we need are leaders who really have the understanding, who have the courage to be able to resolve our crisis in good time before we really fall into the ditch.
And let's talk about the response of the administration, who say, listen, people like you, Dr. Bugaja, are telling a part of the story, not all of the story. Because there is another part that they would say inspires hope. Another part that actually talks about some of the small but important changes that has been happening, reforms and whatnot. Let me get your take on the narrative and why there seems to be this divide between people out of government and what they're saying about Nigeria and people in government and their perspective about the state of the nation. I mean, clearly there's a polarization here. Nigerians are quite undecided about who to believe or who is telling a better story or who is telling a believable story. Yes, a lot of people can tell by themselves that whether the poverty issue is real or not because of their lived experiences. But what does this say about the future of the country, where people in government and people out of government are always talking about the situation from two different, viewpoints that doesn't seem to coalesce?
Well, why don't we have a dialogue? Let the people in government who think they have the figures come, and let others the Kaduna meeting was construed just for government to basically make it case. But if they really want, there are people, and there are people who are talking to them, that, look, what you are saying is not correct. It's not true. And you are not giving us the whole story. They are basically trying to hide what they want to hide. Why is it, nobody has really addressed the issue of those trillions of this coastal highway without due process up till now? Why did the president have to buy a new plane, given the level people are dying in your own country? Children, innocent children. And you are buying a new fleet, you are buying a new car, you are buying a new yacht. We have not forgotten. So it just gives you this, that these political, leaders, really in the first place are not honest. If they are, let them come clean on a lot of these these issues.
We understand that the federal government, the Revenue Mobilization Commission, is talking about an upward review of the emoluments of political office holders. They say it's long overdue that the take-home pay of ministers, including the president himself. I don't know why you're smiling, but what do you think? What do you think of the timing? Nigeria just recently got a new minimum wage. Surely it makes sense, right?
Have you checked to find out really how many people are being paid this minimum wage? And the minimum wage they are paying, by the way, is far less than the salary they had before the devaluation of the purchasing power. So actually, even if they double the minimum wage, it will not be up to what their old salary will purchase before the devaluation. Why did the president have to devalue the naira?
You mean float it?
Yeah. I mean, you can say floating, you can say these are all euphemisms, but the point of the matter is that it's destroying the money of the country. If he has no economists around him, let him come back to the country. We have very good economists here, and they will give him a way out. Malaysia faced similar thing under Soros. He wanted their currency to be floated, to be destroyed, but they gathered their economists and they went through. IMF and World Bank had to come to learn really how not to float currencies. So we have experiences that we can actually learn from. And he just simply surrendered to IMF and World Bank. And he went and removed subsidy without any cushion, without any arrangement. Only God knows how many people died because of that.
I mean, you have people like who are quite familiar with the Nigerian economy. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, director of the World Trade Organization, who recently, had some positive things to say about the management of the economy.
I don't trust Ngozi. I don't trust she's a World Bank IMF agent. This is my view.
You don't trust it? Is this a suspicion that you have of the Director General?
You see, I mean, she must be doing a wonderful job. But on matters of African economy, I don't, and many scholars that study development economists will not trust IMF, will not trust a World Bank. And these are not institutions that are there to help us. These are institutions created by the West to supervise, monitor, and control the economy of developing countries. Right. Why do you think the BRICS are trying to escape from dollarization, the American system? It's precisely because these are predatory institutions. And it's well known. Zuma is now in Ghana, today, Tuesday, giving a talk on BRICS. And
would you nudge President Tinubu to, push for full membership? I mean, we're a partner of BRICS right now, but would you welcome the idea of Nigeria joining?
I don't think he has the courage to do so. It takes courage.
Is it fair to say that you have no faith in the Tinubu administration?
I have friends that I know are working hard, and I'm hoping, but this is half time. If they cannot really get him to do the right things, I'm about to lose faith.
Okay.
I'm about to lose faith. I've seen so many mess, and I think it's possible to correct it. And I've spoken to those that I can speak, and I don't see much changes in the kind of thing they are doing. So if he can't do this after 2 years, I'm not quite sure he can do anything in the next coming, because the next thing he will be busy with is basically election. And they've already started campaign.
All right. And on that note, we're going to have to leave it here for now. Dr. Bugazi, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, but let me just make 1 minute.
Right.
I think as citizens, our approach to the crisis we are facing, it's not just to condemn government alone. We should come up with solutions. And we should be able to put our government on its toes in taking the kind of solutions. And we should also be able to say that at the end of the day, the problems of this country is leadership. And we have got to address the leadership recruitment mechanism. We have got to have a criteria for selecting. And in this thing, we need character, we need competence, and we need courage. This is what we should be focusing. Anybody, it doesn't matter the parties are almost the same. So just focus on those with character, those with competence, and those with the courage to do the right thing.
So guys, now that you have seen everything, it is time to face the truth. Nigeria is burning, and yet some leaders are busy lining their pockets, turning a blind eye to the suffering all around us. But here is the thing, change doesn't only come from them, it comes from us, from every voice that refuses to stay silent, from every hand that dares to act. Think about it. How long can we watch corruption thrive while ordinary Nigerians struggle to survive? How long will we allow apathy to be louder than action? Every discussion you start, every post you share, every person you wake up to the truth, you are part of the force that can tip the scales. Yes, it can feel overwhelming. Yes, it can feel like one voice doesn't matter. But history is full of moments where every people, just like you, changed the course of a nation. The question is, will you stay silent, or will you rise? Will you accept the darkness, or will you be the light that challenges it? So, speak out, share this message, and hold leaders accountable. Discuss it, debate it, push it into the street, into the conversation, into the hearts of people who need to see this. Change starts when enough of us refuse to settle. And remember, The chains of corruption only bind us if we let them. Rise, question, ask, because a Nigeria that dares to dream, to fight, and to demand justice is a Nigeria that cannot be stopped. And never forget this: history remembers those who refuse to be silent. Will you be one of them?